Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So all together please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yuruna Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadarti Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sujivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Paridana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Kadakanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpa Dharubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavad-Gita as it is, translation and commentary by Srila Prabhupada. Today's texts are number 4 and number 5. Chapter 1. Chapter 2. Entitled Contents of the Gita Summarized. Please repeat. Arjuna Vacha Katham Bhishmam No water. Aham Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratichochyami Purahav Arisudana Katham Bhishman Aham Sankhye Dronam Cha Madhusudana Ishubhi Pratiyochyami Puja Havyari Sudana. So, word for word, Arjuna Vacha. Arjuna said, Katam, how, Bhishmam, Bhishma, Aham, I, Sankhye, in the fight, Dronam, Drona, Cha, also, Madhusudana, O killer of Madhu, Ishubhihi, with arrows, Pratiyochyami, shall counterattack. Pudha aho, those who are worshipable. Arisudana, O killer of the enemies. Translation Srila Prabhupada. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Please repeat, Arjuna said. O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counteract with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Purport Srila Prabhupada. Respectable superiors like Bhishma the grandfather and Dronacharya the teacher are always worshipable. Even if they attack, they should not be counteracted. It is general etiquette that superiors are not to be offered even a verbal fight. Even if they are sometimes harsh in behavior, they should not be harshly treated. then how is it possible for Arjuna to counteract them? Excuse me. Would Krishna ever attack his own grandfather, Ugrasen, or his teacher, Sandipani Muni? These were some of the arguments offered by Arjuna to Krishna. So next line, verse 5. Please, we'll just do line by line. Gurun atavahi mahanubhavan Shreyo bhuktam bhaksyam apiha loke Hatvasa kamamstu gurun ihava Bunjiya bhogam hrudira pratidhandan. Okay, word for word, number 5. Gurun, the superiors. Ahatva, not killing. He, certainly. Maha anubhavan, great souls. Streyaha, it is better. Bhuktum, to enjoy life. Bhakshyam, by begging. Api, even. Iha, in this life. Loke, in this world. Hatva, killing. Artha, gain. Kaman, desiring. To, but. Gurun, superiors. Iha, in this world. Eva, certainly. Bunjiya, one has to enjoy. Bhogan, enjoyable things. Rudhira, blood. Pratigdhan, tainted with. So, translation Srila Prabhupada, it would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. So please repeat, it would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. Purport Srila Prabhupada. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. Under the circumstances, they have lost the respectability of teachers. But Arjuna thinks that nevertheless they remain his superiors. And therefore to enjoy material profits after killing them would mean to enjoy spoils tainted with blood. So, very dramatic. Mukam karochi vachalam bhangam laitegirim yad kripatam aham bande Shri Guru dinatarinam. So, Katha Bhishma mahang sankhye dronam cha madhusudana ishu bi pratitoshyami pujatha harisudana. Arjuna said, O killer of enemies, O killer of Madhu, how can I counterattack with arrows in battle men like Bhishma and Drona, who are worthy of my worship? Gurun ahatavahi mahanubhavan shreyo bhuktam bhakshyama apiha loke hatvatha karmamstu gurun ihaiva bunjiya bogan hrudira pratigdhan. It would be better to live in this world by begging than to live at the cost of the lives of great souls who are my teachers. Even though desiring worldly gain, they are superiors. If they are killed, everything we enjoy will be tainted with blood. So, Arjuna is still offering arguments to not fight. Previously, at the end of the first chapter, we saw that he said that the women will be degraded. That was his first argument. It's interesting to think that that was his first argument. He was saying that if all these great leaders of society, gurus and Bhishma and leading Kshatriyas, if they're all gone, then there'll be a collapse of society. Women will not be protected and they will be degraded. Then there will be Varnashankara, bad population, and this will destroy society. So I think he was talking about 5,000 years in the future. Because nowadays society is very disturbed. Nobody knows what is the progressive values of life. So that was his basic idea, that women won't be protected. So it's a very interesting point. It is natural for men, material and spiritual, to protect women. That is the natural impetus of a man, to protect women and children first. So Arjuna is displaying that feeling, and Prabhupada says that even though these are false arguments, Prabhupada does give ground to Arjuna in this current state of mind. He says the Vaishnava is soft-hearted person, and he's not quick. He's not ready to take a chance for violence and self-aggrandizement. He doesn't want that. So he naturally is very careful. And we see that Yudhisthira Maharaj, that's in the Bhagavatam, that after the battle, he was, maybe depressed is not the right word, he was unhappy. He was unhappy. So he was advised to make a fire yagya, and that would clear his mind and make offerings to all the people present and not present, and to all the souls that were, that died on the battlefield. So he was not rejoicing, oh, I've become king. So that is also the sign of a Vaishnava. He is not interested in power and position for his own self-aggrandizement. Yudhisthira was ready to take the throne because that was the desire of Krishna, and on the throne he could be the servant of the praja, of the population. He wouldn't exploit them. So again, Bhagavatam, beginning of the Bhagavatam, first canto, we see that the personality of Kali is dressed as a king, looking very glorious, but there's something about his aura that's very bad. And he's beating Dharma. And Parikshit Maharaj comes along and says, why are you in such distress? Says, well, many philosophers give this reason, give that reason. There's the Sankhya philosophy, there's Nyaya, there's Uttaramimams, the laws of karma. But all I know is this is the mercy of the Supreme. And nothing happens without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So I take it as his mercy. So it's interesting, we've talked about this point, but he didn't point out, I'm in bad condition because of this fellow. He took it as the mercy of the Supreme. So that is right at the beginning of the Bhagavatam, so there's a great instruction there. Sometimes we may feel that we're in a situation that is happening to us through some unjust means. Somebody, he doesn't like me, he's got it in for me, he's lying, he's passing rumors, this and that, right? He stole my bead bag or something. So we may think that so many bad things are coming, but right at the beginning, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the Paramahansa Samhita. It is Paramo Nimacharanam Satam. It is for the Paramahansa. So the Paramahansa is the person who is separated at least in his consciousness, matter from spirit. And his consciousness, his attention is on spirit. So he's called Paramahansa. You all know, if you experienced devotees, because Prabhupada gives the example like if you pour milk into water, then the Hansa, the swan, can drink the water, take out the milk, and reject the water. So it can separate milk from water. So the Paramahansa can separate spirit from matter. So we see here actually that Arjuna is not separating spirit from matter. He is on that material platform and he's giving material reasons. He's saying, oh, the women will not be protected. And now he's moved on to, he's already been chastised. Let's have a look at how Krishna chastises him. It's very interesting to see exactly. It starts with number 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, my dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? He doesn't say, oh, you're being very compassionate and very nice, politically correct, and you'll get voted in as the social secretary or something. He says, this is impurity. They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy. So this is Arjuna's point. He's saying, oh, if the women are not protected, I'm responsible for killing all these people, then I'll be going to hell. So it's better I go and become a beggar, like he's going to say. Now, but what's very interesting is, you see, Prabhupada translation, he says, a man who knows the value of life. Now, if you look in the Sanskrit, you see that, anarya. You see that? Anarya. Persons who do not know the value of life. So, anarya. So, therefore, an Aryan, we hear many times the word Aryan, an Aryan race or something. But actually, we can understand here that an Aryan means a non-Aryan. He is somebody who doesn't know the value of life, or the spiritual values of life. But we can understand that therefore the Aryan is somebody who knows the value of life. Just like in the Bhagavatam also it says, what does it say? Ye anti he sumedasa. That those who are Sumeda, they perform the Sankirtan Yajna. Sumeda means good brain. Prabhupada translates it many times. Good brain substance, good mind, good intelligence. So, what is good intelligence in those terms? Good intelligence in those terms is somebody who can see the value of the Bhagavad philosophy, who can see the value of the Gita, who can see the value of the Srimad Bhagavatam, who can see the value of the writing of the Goswamis, and the writings of Krishna Das Kaviraj, Vrindavan Das Thakur, Vedava. He can see that. Many people, they may read the Gita, I don't, what's it on about? I don't really know, and you know, there's a good cricket match on the television, so, you know, let's put this aside. How are India going to beat Sri Lanka? Anyway, so they don't really take the value. And that's very common now in Kali Yuga, right? What's that verse? Manda sumanda matayo manda bhagya hi upadruta. That people in Kali Yuga, they're slow. That means slow at spiritual understanding, particularly, Prabhupada says. Manda Mateo, they are unfortunate, mandabhagya, unfortunate, and they're always disturbed in their mind, the modes of passion and ignorance. So they can't really clearly grasp, because Dhira Tatra Namuyate, Krishna tells Arjuna later on, he says, you must be Dhira Arjuna, you must be sober. So the Sumeda person and the Aryan, they're so sober Just like in that verse, that song, Dira Dira Jana Priyakaro Saddharma Sanstapano. That the 6 Goswamis, they were dear to the Dira and the Adira. That means they're sober, the devotee. Mode of goodness makes you sober and more in touch with the value of life. You can become an Aryan then. But the Adira is the person who's agitated. But the 6 Goswamis, because they were such sadhus, and even to this day, Sanatana Goswami is beloved in Vrindavan. You may know amongst the Brijbasis, because he was famous for just chatting with people, the farmers and the local people, and asking them how their daughter was, how their children are coming along. Was the crop, the wheat, was it a good harvest? So this is very instructive. The Chaitanya Charitamrita particularly is very good in that regard, because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita we see how a devotee should act in a sober manner. But that doesn't mean to say he's aloof. Sanatana Goswami, he's Paramahamsa, so he's having a chat with the Brijbasis about their family affairs, and he's concerned. And even to this day in Vrindavan, on Sanatana Goswami's appearance day, many people will do parikram. So I was informed by Brijbasis, because Sanatana Goswami particularly is a favorite of the Brijbasis. So this is very instructive, all the way a devotee should act. And we can understand here that Arjuna, he is being a good person, mode of goodness. But ultimately, he's not performing his dharma. We had a big discussion last week about this, right? According to your previous life, you will be born with certain guna, qualities. From the guna, you'll get your karma, your tendency to a particular work. And then that becomes your dharma. Particularly when you perform your work as an offering to the Supreme, that is yajna. But even within that format, you should not just be trying to become perfect materially, but you should use that vaidhi, that rules and regulations of varnashram, to cultivate jaiva dharma, sanatan dharma. You should wake up your soul not just by the rules and regulations of varnashram, which are, the vaidhi bhakti more or less, but you should be, within that format, you should be practicing Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. That's in the Bhagavatam, of course, Prahlad Maharaj. Says, I'm not interested in friends and enemies, Prahlad Maharaj says. Because he was being taught by Sunanda and the other teacher. Amarka and Sanda, yeah. They were giving him all this instruction about Niti Shastra, politics, and his basic refutal was that I'm not interested in this philosophy of friends and enemies. Because that is the political field, particularly for the demons. This is my friend, this is my enemy. I make alliance with him and I attack this person. And it is all for the purpose of self-aggrandizement. But Prahlad said, what's the use of this? I don't see anything like that. And then we have the verse number 6, which is the counterpoint in the Ishopanishad. Yastu sarvani bhutani atmani evanupashati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vidyugupshite. Says, so 3 things Vedavyasa is saying there, Ishopanishad. He says, those that see everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, that's the first. So that means all energy, material and spiritual, chit shakti, achit shakti, everything in relationship, and then sarvabhuteshu chatmanam, all living entities as Atma, who are angsa, part of the Supreme, and then and the Supreme Lord within everything, and everything within the Supreme Lord, then that person, tatona vidyagupshite, he doesn't hate anyone. He's not envious of anyone. Because he sees three things: everything in relation to Supreme Lord, every living entity as the part and parcel, the spirit soul of Krishna, and the Supreme Lord everywhere and everything within the Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada in the purport, he says, this is the vision of the Uttamadhikari. So that is the goal of life, that is the goal of Dharma, to become, we talked about it last week, what's that verse? Trigunya Vishya Veda Nistrigunya Bhavajuna Nirvan Nijasattva. So Nir Yoga Shema Atmavan. Arjuna, the Vedas, and that means Varnashram, they mainly deal with your duties within the three modes. But rise above that, Arjuna, and become established in the self. So that incident with the personality of Kali, because that was Parikshit Maharaj's response. He heard personality of coming, I just take it as the Supreme's law. Then Parikshit Maharaj says, I can see you're the personality of Dharma. You are a truly religious person. Because he's seeing everything in relationship to the Supreme Lord. And he has no other aspiration other than that. But that is not some kind of mental conception. That is the reality. That is reality. Illusion means to see everything, or to be forgetful of the Supreme Lord and to not see its connection. Gita later on, Sutre Mani Gna Iva. Yad Yad Vibhutimat Sattvam Srimad Ujidam Evava. Tat Tat Eva Gro Sattvam Vyasambha Sambhavam. That Arjuna know that all wonderful and beautiful creation are just a spark of my splendor. Sutri Mani Gana Iva. And I am threaded within this creation as Paramatma, as Brahman, my effulgence. And I am the Paramatma, and I am maintaining this creation. I'm maintaining the laws of karma. I'm maintaining the cohesiveness. I'm maintaining the time factor. I'm maintaining the existence of the living entities. See me in that way. And it's very interesting to Sutri Mani Gana Iva. So the soul is actually resting. That's why later Krishna, when he sees the universal form, Arjuna was in Param Dharma Pavitram, that he is the supreme abode, that Krishna, and this is reality. So this is Vaishnavism. Vaishnavism means to accept the Supreme Lord and how everything is in relationship to him. Those energies are three. There's the material, there's the spiritual energy, and there's the living entity. Of course, there's a great variety within that, but for purpose of describing, those three are there. So, the accomplished devotee, the established devotee understands, yes, that okay, everything is in relationship to the Supreme Lord, so my activities should be in relationship to the Supreme Lord. Whereas the material function is that my activities should be in relationship to me and my satisfaction. So that is the basic mistake of material life. We try to be Purusha instead of being Prakriti. We try to be the enjoyer rather than the enjoyed. We try to be the master rather than the servant. And therefore, because we are acting in this independent way, forgetful, we become under the laws of karma. So the connection to the Supreme Lord is through Dharma. And that connection to the Supreme Lord is in perfection when we are liberated. Again that verse, Hiranmay, what is that? Muktir hitavan yata rupam swarupena abhavastiti. Second canto. What is liberation? Muktir hitavan. It means to be established in your relationship with Krishna. So that is the Paramahamsa. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is the discussion of that relationship between the Paramahamsas and the Supreme Lord. And it's structured in that way to develop the understanding. We see in the Bhagavatam, we have the devotees and the Supreme Lord, and they're having Leela, and then towards the end of the Leela, Prahlad Maharaj will say his prayers, Dhruva Maharaj will say his prayers, Queen Kunti says her prayers, and the personified Vedas in the 10th canto, they say their prayers. And so the Leela and the philosophy is tied together and woven together in a wonderful way. And we see the spiritual world. And that is the goal. But Arjuna, he is not seeing that connection now. He's not seeing his Dharma, and that Dharma is the link to the Supreme Lord. And you see, that's an interesting point, because the man-made religions, the concocted religions with their man-made scriptures, they see religion as like a part-time job or something. You do it on Friday, Saturday or Sunday, and then you turn on the television and go to the pub and have a few beers or watch a cricket match. And they just see that religion, it's like paying a tax. I have to pay 15% to the government of my income. Well, that would be very little nowadays, but I have to pay a tax to the government, and then I can have my own money. So people think I should go on to church Saturday, Sunday, Monday, synagogue, mosque, whatever, and then I'm free to do what I want, because by doing that little taxation, I'm free of all sin. I'll be saved. So no, that's a very crippled view of Dharma. So when we, often Dharma is translated as religion, but we don't mean mundane religion. We mean Dharma means to act. What Prabhupada, one lecture I always remember, Prabhupada says, Dharma means that which cannot be changed. So Dharma is, yes, you are not the enjoyer, you are the servant. You are not the center of the universe, Krishna is the center of the universe. And therefore your duty is to establish your relationship with the Supreme Lord and act accordingly. But we see that unlike these concocted religion, the inspiration is not fear. The inspiration in the relationship with Krishna is what? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhakabanai Shravanadi Sudachitte Karideodai. The inspiration is ecstatic love of God. Therefore Krishna is Krishna, that which attracts, that which pulls. So Krishna, in the lower stages, we're performing Dharma because it's our duty, and Arjuna is thinking, oh, I'll go to hell for this, I'll not go to the heavenly planets. He's thinking in that relative way, that dualistic way, good and bad, friends and enemies. But on the spiritual platform, that all melts away. And that is the reality. Prabhupada explains that, a lecture also that struck me, that when you listen to material people, it's like they're all haunted by a ghost. It's like listening to people. They will say feminism. They will come out with all sorts of junky ideas. Darwinism. There was a Big Bang and everything came from that. And, I don't know how the Big Bang happened, but it happened because, look, it's all here. And then there'll be socialist ideas and globalism nowadays. And they're all having, and this is what Arjuna gets told. You're speaking big words, but it's just a load of junk. Right? While speaking learned words, you're mourning for that which is not worthy of grief. Right? So that's it. What does he mean? What's not worthy of grief? The pact is that what's not worthy of grief is maintaining this body in abeyance of one's dharma. This is, yes, we should preserve the body because it's the vehicle by which we can serve Krishna, we can serve Guru, we can study the Shastra, but if we put that survival of the material body as the ultimate principle, then we are downgrading dharma. And we cannot downgrade dharma fruitfully, because dharma is that which cannot be changed. If we make the survival of my material body the ultimate principle in life, then we are not accepting our connection with the Supreme Lord. We're not realizing our eternal nature as a spiritual soul. We're not realizing, we're blocking off the chance to realize Krishna. Therefore, later on, Krishna will tell Arjuna, do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering victory or loss, game or loss, infamy or fame or infamy. He says, don't do that. You do your duty, Arjuna. So that is the ultimate principle. But those on the bodily platform think that this maintenance of this body, the enjoyment of this body, that's the ultimate principle. And therefore all these philosophies, like I say, scientism, globalism, capitalism, communism, they are all just different idiotic ideas based on how different ways to enjoy the material world as the ultimate principle. Whereas the human being, he should understand, now I've got this material body, I've got a good brain, Vedavyas has given the Shastras, the sadhus have given their commentary, let me see the value in this and let me attain eternal life. That is the duty of a human being. So, what is that verse? Sarvadharma prajaja mamekam. So, Krishna is saying there that all this dharma, Arjuna, protecting women and this and that and varnashram is very good. But ultimately, the ultimate principle is to surrender unto me in loving devotion, in ecstatic union with me. That is what you should be really, that is your real principle. So Arjuna is being led to that. Now today's particular verses, objections, let's just have a quick look. Yes, now there was an interesting point there in the purport that I don't know if you picked it up, everyone will see. Yes. According to scriptural, it's in the purport, number 5. According to scriptural codes, a teacher who engages in an abominable action and has lost his sense of discrimination is fit to be abandoned. So that's also, I've read that book in Narahari Sakor, Krishna Bhajanamrita. He says that if a disciple sees his guru disobeying or the principles of Shastra and the Acharyas, then the disciple can question his guru. He can say, excuse me, Gurudev, but you're living with a woman and that is not the behavior of a sannyasi. He shouldn't just be a blind follower. That's just one example. Or Gurudev, you don't seem to be practicing sadhana. I saw you eating grains on Ekadashi. Gurudev, why are you doing this? This is not Shastra. So Narahari Sakor is an associate of Lord Chaitanya. He's giving that book. It's very instructive. Because we don't, in Krishna consciousness, we don't believe in blind following. Oh, he's Gurun. And this is the principle here, Gurun. It's very interesting how, I don't know if you picked up, Gurun, the superiors. It's very interesting. that the superiors, they should be the guru. But if the inferior, in this case, Arjuna is saying, these are my guru, my superiors, but Prabhupada is making the point that if the inferior sees the guru, the superior, behaving badly, then he should not be a blind follower. He should not, the blind leading the blind, as they say. Or as we're taught in the lemmings going over, the big lemming goes over the hill, and then all the little lemmings go in over the hill. You know, lemmings, what do they call them in Hindi? Kind of a rodent, they jump over cliffs every now and again. Do they do that in India? I've never seen them do it. But anyway, the idea is they follow one another over the hill. So if you see your guru, but of course, your superiors misbehaving, but then, as Prabhupada points out here, then you should approach them not in a triumphant manner, but in a very humble, tactful manner. Because devotee is sober, he's not looking at chance to slap someone in the face. So, but that is an interesting point. But then, and then Prabhupada gives the example. Bhishma and Drona were obliged to take the side of Duryodhana because of his financial assistance, although they should not have accepted such a position simply on financial considerations. So that's very interesting. That's a very important point. Because generally people, I have to help this person because he's supporting me financially. Okay, you have some obligation, but if that person is adharmic, he's behaving badly, then you're going to hell with him, you follow. Because you're putting, in this case, financial consideration above your dharmic consideration. Right? We've already tried to establish in the first part of the class that the ultimate principle for a human being is dharma. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed to die in 7 days. And his question to the sages at Naimisharanya, now, what is my duty? Right? He didn't say how I can get out of this. Actually, he was a very powerful sadhu. He was a great Kshatriya. The Shastra does say he could have counteracted, but not to disturb Varnashram or the social system of the day, he accepted it. So there shows how detachment from life and death. And his concern was, what's my dharma? So this is a very important point. That human beings, in the material platform, they want to enjoy and maintain the body. But the real thing for a human being is his concern with, am I performing my dharma? Am I performing my duty to my family, to my nation, but ultimately to the Supreme Lord? And my ultimate dharma is to realize my personal relationship, to awaken my swarup, my spiritual identity, and live in that relationship. That should be the concern, the prime concern. So Arjuna, Bhishma and Dronacharya, right? And this is very interesting in Ram Leela, right? Bibhishan, he gave up service of Ravana. He was being supported, of course. He was a member of the court of Ravana. But he thought, I can't support this Ravana, this Kumbhagana. He snores all day. He sleeps so much. But I can't support these people. And he went to Ram. And of course, Ram, Supreme Lord, Dhira Shanti, he immediately accepted him. Okay, no problem. He wasn't bitter or anything. So Bibhishan is illustrating that point. But remember what we talked about three classes ago, that many people know of the Bhishma Vrat. That Bhishma said, okay, father of Satyavati, I promise I'll not have children. So my children will not take the throne from Satyavati's children. I promise that. So everyone, and then the demigods, oh, Bhishma, wonderful vow. So he was Devavrata before that, of course. But remember we were talking that he also took a second vow at that time, and that vow was that he would see, because he was the dutiful, his dharma was to serve his father, he would see his father in whomever or whoever was sitting on the throne. So this had covered his mind. But we know at the end of the Bhagavatam, Draupadi was there. Bhishma, Santanu was not an ordinary person. He was a great yajna and a great yogi, Maharaj Santanu. He'd given Bhishma, in response to his vows, the ability to choose his time of death. So Bhishma was there on the bed of arrows at the end of the Bhagavatam, at the end of the battle of the Mahabharata, the Bharat War, and Yudhisthira Maharaj approached and he said, please give me teaching how I can rule properly, because the battle's over, I'm going to be the king. So he was approaching Bhishma. And Bhishma was going to speak, but in the back was Draupadi. And Draupadi had a kind of expression on her face. Oh, women can say many things with an expression, right? So Bhishma said, well, Draupadi, do you have something you want to say? He said respectfully. So Draupadi said, well, you know, you're going to speak on dharma now, the duties of mankind, and how to rule nicely when you're a king. But where was your dharma when I was being stripped naked in the thing? So then Bhishma said, yes, you're right. But now the polluted blood, tainted, interesting, today's verse, tainted with blood. But now that blood has been drained out by the arrows of Arjuna. And I'm so purified now. I'm here. And so now I can speak on Dharma. So it's very, all these stories are wonderfully instructive. Huh? Are they not? And this is, if we understand, like we had a big discussion last week about the stages of understanding Dharma and Arjuna, and the Vedic literature, if it's understood in terms of Dharma, this is the thread throughout the Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Dharma, the duty of a human being, and all the niceties are there. So then Draupadi was satisfied, yes. I can understand now. And then Bhishma. So Bhishma, of course, he is one of the 8 Vasus. We know the 8 Vasus, right? The 5 elements, and then the sun, the moon, and the pole star, the deities that govern those areas. So Bhishma was explaining, and he's teaching us that we have to be very careful about what vows we give, right? And where we take our maintenance. And like Prabhupada says here, the example of Bibhishan, he is giving a sublime instruction there, that ultimately it is surrender to the Supreme Lord, as Bibhishan surrendered to Ram. That is the ultimate principle. And the principles of financial consideration, social viability, and even vows that we may have taken, they are all secondary to the idea of surrendering to the Supreme Lord. And that is our ultimate Dharma. That is the ultimate principle. So the Vedic literature is teaching that. And if we can understand that and endeavor in that direction, we can make advancement very easily. What is my duty? So we as devotees, we have duty to the spiritual master. But that duty does not mean to be just blind, as we've explained. We can also speak, Gurudev, are you not well? You don't seem to be having time to chant. Is there some problem? Can I help you? We can approach even our superiors in a way. We have a duty to the spiritual master. We have a duty to the devas, the demigods. But there's that verse, remember from last week in the purport, that all the duties are taken care of. Right? Wasn't it last week? Verse 40. Let's read that verse as a conclusion. Yes, that's it. 41. Devasya bhutatma nrinam pritrinam na kinkaro nyayam hrin na rajan sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanam gato mukundam parihitra kartum. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties, dharmas, or obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Such obligations, this is the purport, are automatically fulfilled by the performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's another version of Aham Sarvadharma Prajaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Just Mam Ekam. That is the ultimate principle, is surrender to the Supreme Lord. And so, but unless we are in that ecstatic position of realization of our relationship, we should be very careful to follow rules and regulations. Madhavendra Puri in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says, yes, now ever since my heart is flooded with Krishna Prem, I put aside my Brahmin thread, I put aside all these observances of Vaidhi, now I just remain in Vrindavan and meditate on the pastimes of my beloved Radha and Krishna and chant the holy name. And actually that's at the end of the Jaiva Dharma. That's the sadhu. The Jaiva Dharma is a wonderful book. That's how the Jaiva Dharma finishes. Vijay Kumar, I think, one of the sadhus, he's just sitting in a little lean-to on the beach at Jagannath Puri, and he's just chanting the name, and he's completely immersed in the Leela of Krishna. So that is perfection. But until we reach that, we should take the assistance, guidance of Vaidhi Bhakti to make sure. We should imitate that platform. We should act according to our position. But we should understand that, yes, now I'm a human being. My dharma, what is my dharma? What is my duty? And that preoccupation, that taking that as primary, then Krishna in the heart, Shiksha Guru, he will guide us. Because you see, we're giving up material life, right? Devotees, we're giving up meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. We're giving up, asatsangi chagi. We're giving up, what is the cricket score? What is the latest political kerfuffle? What is the latest nonsense about climate change and so on? We're giving up all that preoccupation. We're giving up. So what is that principle that we can adopt that will be our motivation in action? Previously in material life, we were thinking, I'm Purusha, I want to enjoy. So devotees often seen it, they give up material life, but What is my motivation now? So our motivation is our dharma, our responsibility to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And that becomes our inspiration. So this is by the grace of Acharyas, Shastra and Guru. Thank you all very much for listening to Kras. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that's our dharma, chanting Hare Krishna. So any questions? Yes, Ladini. This is Ladini, good name, huh? Ladini Shakti. Huh? Das, yes. He's a sadhu. He's a sadhu.
So I have a question about this last point we're making about our motivation, having accepted that bhakti is our purpose and our nature and our goal. Then, dharma becomes our motivation.
It becomes like the path.
Yes.
Dharmam shakshad bhagavat pranihitam.
But I've been practicing for a little while, and I've noticed that some devotees, they realize if I try too hard to be extremely, perfectly adherent to the highest standard, I will fall down because I'm not capable of it. So they carefully and soberly and honestly, might go to a movie or read some non-devotional book, or again,
keep in touch with the news.
Keep in touch with the news. And
when the environment is going to collapse in 12 years, as a 16-year-old girl is telling the world. Anyway.
This is the other point I was going to make. Exactly. You're anticipating it because, the other motive for behaving that way is to be intelligible to the people to whom we're trying to preach. That, there is injustice. I mean, Krishna was directing Arjuna, you remove these people, it is your duty, it is my desire. And why? Because they're wicked.
Well, like I say, I understand your question. The first point you made is answered in the Bhagavad-Gita. There's a discussion there, and you read the purports. I think it's chapter 28, 29, 11th canto. And there, Krishna tells our Uddhava, because that is also the Paramahansa Gita. The instructions to Uddhava is how to become a Paramahansa. This is Sarva Dharma Parijajara. And so then in the Uddhava Gita, Krishna tells Uddhava how to become Paramahansa. How on the highest platform. He doesn't give that instruction in a developed way to Arjuna. But so what is that instruction? He says that piety means to act in accordance with your position. See, Arjuna was being impious because he was a noble Kshatriya with duties to his brothers. And this was a battle made by Krishna. And Duryodhana had tried to kill his brothers many times from childhood. He was a bad person. He was an expansion of Kali. So he was being impious. He was a Kshatriya, but he wasn't acting in accordance with his realization or his duties. And also impiety, so that's piety, but impiety means to act above his position. So Arjuna was thinking, I'll just become a beggar. I'll become a bhikshu. I'll become a sannyasi. But Krishna said, that's not your position. You're not on that platform. You have to act according to your position, Arjuna. So therefore, yes, we should act in accordance with our position. If we act below it, that's impiety. If we act above it, that's impiety. Another example, Sahajiya, right? Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta, they elucidated what is. So people that want to be Madhavendra Puri by putting on cloth tearing a dhoti in two. And now I'm going to chant 64 rounds and just live on the bank of Radhakund. There was one case, one disciple of Prabhupada, in the early days of Mayapur, he was a little bit, he was a little unstable. And he climbed in a tree. And he told everyone, I don't want to do anything else, I'm going to just chant. So he was in the tree, chanting. And Prabhupada was in morning walk. They said, Prabhupada, he's a bit, Prabhupada said, don't let him. So he was chanting, living in the tree. I think he must have come down to eat and have a bath every now and again. But he found a nice spot in the tree, and he was chanting. But then after about a week or so, he gave it up. So inevitably, we'll act according to our realization. To our level. So he was trying to be Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. On that, there's also a good example about Gokishore Das Babaji. He was very famous, so people would come to see him. But he didn't like that because it disturbing his bhajan. Now, but our duty might be to teach people about Krishna consciousness, but Gokishore Das Babaji, because of his bhava, he wanted to avoid that. So then he used to chant near a toilet area. And then there was another devotee that came along, and he thought, I'll also chant along with Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj. And he took to chanting there. And so Gokishore Das Babaji said, look, if you're not pregnant, you can scream like you're giving birth, but there'll be no baby come. Right? So of course, giving birth to a child is very painful. Generally, women scream. But that's because they're pregnant. But if you act like you're pregnant, and you don't have a baby, no baby will come despite your screaming. So at the same time, however, we should be endeavoring. We should be trying to push the envelope, as they say, and we should be trying to improve. But also on this topic of finding the right thing, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur in Chaitanya Shikshamrita, he says that a sadhaka is on the path, but he finds that I have so many, I should be like Madhavendra Puri, I should be like Gokishore Das Babaji, I should be in ecstatic love, but I'm not. But I want to be there. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he's very practical. He says, therefore, the sadhaka, he should make a list of all his anarthas, unwanted things, like I'm overeating. Sometimes I don't offer the prasadam. I'm not chanting all my 3 times a day Gayatri mantras. I'm not. He should make a list without being depressed. Bhakti Vinod makes the point, without being discouraged. But then he should, this week I'm going to cross this one off the list. I'm going to make sure I only take offerable food to Krishna. I'm not going to eat potato chips or something from the snack bars outside. I'm going to only take Krishna Prasad. I'm going to work on that, right? And then he should look on the list, now I'm going to work on this. I'm not going to eat, I'm going to give up tea and coffee. Or I'm not going to watch television every day. I'll watch every weekend and just keep in touch with the news in that way. So he should make a list of things that he wants to dispel and then work through them, but without being neurotic. Because like your point is very pertinent, because many devotees, they come, they take 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds, they take mantra initiation, chant Gayatri, and then they find I can't do it. Huh? So then they sometimes feel guilty and bad. You know, oh, I promised Prabhupada, I promised and this, and I can't do it. And then they turn away completely. And then they may go back to material life and feel very bad, and then they take intoxication or become a drinker or something like this, and they go away. So that is not correct. Okay, you're having problem, so then you can't follow the 4 regulative principles, follow the 3 regulative principles. And then work on the 4th one. Be progressive. You understand? Don't, I'm not saying you personally, but a devotee should think like that. I'm having problems, but just like Arjuna, I'm going to fight. I'm on the battlefield. And just like the Kshatriyas, all my scars will be on the front, not on the back. And there's also stories about Prabhupada, like Prabhupada had I won't mention the devotee's name, he fell away, and he came back, he was Prabhupada's servant, I believe. And he came back after a few months, and Prabhupada said, oh Prabhupada, my senses got out of control. Prabhupada didn't even say anything. He just said, you make very good rasamalai or rasgulla, don't you? Go to the kitchen and make me some rasgulla. That was it. No inquisition, no chastisement, just immediate re-engagement in devotional service. You understand? So this is a very important point, that, we're in this material body, it's demanding sense enjoyment. So we can't be like the 6 Goswamis. But it's like Yashreyas karam nasti yaya nivritim apnonat yasajati mameva bhaktim eva sadhayet. That the highest devotion is attained by slow degrees. Huh? And we should, this is at the end of the Brahma Samhita, we should do practice that is suitable for us. But keeping in mind, this is in the purports, the state of perfection. But if we're not on the state of perfection, we should not beat ourselves over the head. You understand? And become depressed. Huh? You see my point? We should be positive. So I've seen many devotees, they become, I can't follow. Okay, then do what you can, but don't go. This is the point.
I have one other part of the question. So you talk a little bit about, keeping the ideal in mind and endeavoring for it according to your capacity without being neurotic.
Yes.
Very good point. Then there are 2 ways in which devotees that I converse with say that you can achieve that. One is through hard work. And then, the other would be by grace.
By what?
Grace. Kripa.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I sometimes feel the hard work is too hard, so I think I better go for the kripa. But then I feel like I'm vitiating my opportunity. I'm waiting, Maybe you can talk about this.
Actually, Ayinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishve Vavamburo Kripaya Dava Pankaja Kripaya. What's the last line? Sadrisim Vichintaya. Nanda Maharaj, I am your eternal servant, but I've fallen in this mud, this material world. Please pick me up by your mercy. So, Acharyas, Prabhupada have written that ultimately everything is kripa. Guru Krishna Kripaya Bhai Bhakti Latabi. So the thing is, sadhana is a way of evoking the kripa of Krishna. Sometimes we hear sadhana siddha and kripa siddha. But sadhana is just a way of applying for kripa. You understand? And that is the general case. So, yes, it's good. But we should actively, that's Lord Chaitanya when he says, Ayinanda Trunita, we should be actively begging for Kripa, but combine that with sadhana. And therefore it is stated in, Prabhupada Nectar of Devotion, that if you just follow rules and regulations without that loilam, that desire to awaken Krishna Prem, then you're on a slow path, because Krishna, this is the secret to understand. Yetam mam prapajante. All of them, as they surrender to me, I reward accordingly, in accordance with them. So if we just want to follow rules and regulations nicely, Krishna will give us that. Eko yo didadati kaman. He's fulfilling our desire, everyone's desire. But if we follow rules and regulations with a desire for Krishna Prem, then Krishna will do that. If we go in front of the deity at the time of arti, and we just look at Krishna and think he's the source of the material, the spiritual energy, this and that, then that's the realization, because we're approaching Krishna in that way. But if we go in front of Krishna, the evening arti, like our cameraman, and we say, Krishna, you're looking so beautiful with Radharani, I don't have any devotion, but you're my Supreme Lord, I belong to you, please give me your shelter, then that reciprocation will come. This is bhakti-yoga. Bhakti-yoga, yes, at the beginning rules and regulations, but ultimately bhakti-yoga is an exchange of love. You understand? So if you want to develop love of God, Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, again, Chaitanya Shikshamriti says, whatever, just like a businessman, whatever devotion he has, he offers it to the Supreme Lord. And then he gets back more devotion. You understand? And then with that, just like a businessman, he has a certain amount of money, so he invests in stock and he makes more profit. So he can buy more stock and then he gets more profit. And then that more profit he reinvests. So a bhakta is like that. He approaches Krishna, Krishna, I have no devotion for you, but I'm your servant. Please give me little devotion. And then Krishna gives him devotion, and then with that much devotion he applies for more devotion. This is Bhakti-Vinod Thakur. So we should be attentive to how we are approaching Krishna, because in accordance with the mood and intensity of our devotion, approach to Krishna, Krishna will reciprocate. If we go into the temple and we just look, there's Krishna, that's Radharani, there's Krishna Balaram, and then we walk out, then we'll get that amount of reciprocation. But if we go to the evening arti and we say, Lord Chaitanya, you're dancing ecstatically with Lord Nityananda, please give me some ecstasy. Then Krishna will reciprocate. You see? So this is a great secret of sadhana, that according to how we approach, Krishna will reciprocate. So bhakti means to conjure up what devotion or philosophy of devotion and offer it to Krishna, and then we get that back. So therefore, when we go into the temple, we don't just look at the deities like they're a photograph. We try to remember, these are people, and Krishna is perceiving how I am approaching him, and he will reciprocate accordingly. And then you can make very fast devotional advancement. Because now you've understood what is bhakti. Bhakti is not breathing exercises, it's an exchange of love. That's what the Bhagavatam is. Right? So we'll finish now, in time for Arti. Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Sadhu Sangha Ke Jai. Hare Krishna.